Alrighty. Whoosh. Hello, we are back. We are back. I'm in a good mood today. You'll probably be able to tell that from the way I sound, but I'm in a really good mood today. I've got a really good feeling about today. Um, I don't know what it is. I've just got some kind of premonition. I think that we're winning this game quite easily. There's a few factors that I'm going to talk about when we get to not only the bingo card, which we'll be doing in a second, but also the predicted lineups and things like that. There's a few factors I feel like kind of go in our favour here. Let me just pause my thing and pop the chat out as always. Right, boom. I've lost my thing. There we go. Christ alive. Welcome in. Hope you guys are doing well. So cool. Let's kind of talk about this. First thing I want to talk about is this is a really good opportunity for us to get back into the top four. Not only because obviously City don't play until later, so we can leapfrog them, but also because Arsenal are currently losing to West Ham, which might not be a thing that happens. But also Bournemouth are currently losing to Wolves, so both of the teams that are above us are kind of in shaky form. Hopefully those stay like that. I think the West Ham Arsenal game is just re-kicked off for the second half. But before we do that, let us go into these, and we can talk about the bingo card. So the bingo card for today, we have a few things from the guys from the Discord. Again, I always say this, but if you want to contribute to these bingo cards, then join the Discord. The links are in the description. That's where I usually ask people for their input. Most of the ones we have on here are the same as usual, but there's a few different ones which I've kind of added. Baldy returns. This is for if Sanchez is in the starting lineup again. Obviously, he's recently got a change of hairstyle. He needs to just go to Turkey, man. For real. We've got defensive howler. This is not just for Chelsea. This is for Villa as well, because as we'll kind of touch on in a bit, Villa have a very weakened defence and kind of just defensive part of their team in general. Clean sheet could happen. Aston Villa are a very good attacking team. We saw what they did to Liverpool, and Liverpool got very lucky to kind of get back into that game and equalise very late on. We've got Say Hi to Ty. This is if Tyreek George gets a extended period on the pitch, obviously with Madueke being injured and Mudryk not being available. I feel like he's got a really good case to be coming off the bench quite early, hopefully earlier than he did before. Sancho, goal/assist. Someone suggested this in the Discord. I reckon that this is a really big statement game for him, having to start on this left-hand side and having to produce, hopefully. So hopefully he gets a goal or assist. Fullback overlap. Now, someone in the Discord said a change of formation, and I already had this on here, which is kind of talking about the same thing. There's been talk in the presser and in the kind of lead up to this game that Enzo Maresca has kind of supposedly in training been testing out Malo Gusto and Cucurella as overlapping fullbacks. Now, whether we see that in this game or if it's too early is another question. I think it could happen. So if this does happen and we get to see those two up and down the outside of the pitch, then that will be ticked off. Last week's scapegoat is always on here. Caicedo booked for a clean tackle is always on here. Game of two halves is always on here. Unlikely goal scorer again. That's been on here quite frequently. That's just for if a player who doesn't usually scores. Again, I guess that could basically imply one of the centre-backs or someone who's a rotational player that's come in. Obviously for Villa, we'll probably have one of those. We've got player book for Descent, as always. We don't get this ticked off as much without Jackson on the pitch, unfortunately. We got a Mugu cameo. This might be the one time we might actually see him play. Obviously, I would usually I would group Anselmino in here as well, but he's been playing for the under-21s and actually doing quite well alongside Josh Chempong. So I don't think either of those two are going to feature. But along with Shimweka, who someone spoke about earlier in the chat I saw, I don't think he'll play either. But yeah, Mugu could come off the bench. That could be fun. Just give Caicedo a bit of a rest. He really needs it. Maresca ball in full flow. This is always on here. Refs/VAR cost us. We've already seen an absolutely egregious refereeing decision earlier today in the United-Everton game with Ashley Young and the penalty decision. I give up talking about it, honestly. Enzo assist. This could definitely happen. Um, I've also got here somewhere a set piece goal or a free kick. Someone suggested this because apparently, I think it's in like the last 2 or 3 games that we've played Villa, we've always got a goal from a set piece, whether that be a free kick or a corner. I reckon we could get these both ticked off with an Enzo corner, getting a goal. That could be happen. Chelsea winners. This one is genuinely. This is just for us winning the game. Because it's been a while since we've had like a very like resounding kind of comfortable win. I feel like today could be the day we get this. Some of the schools are worldy. Again, that's always on here. Correct prediction. I will get to my prediction at the end of the lineups. We've already covered this one. Mono in Australia, we are still the right way up so far. I've gone for Rashford's stat pad sesh. I just have a really horrible feeling that if this doesn't go well, Rashford is going to put in like a brace and an assist, something like that. He's been revitalized under Villa, and this is kind of what I always said would happen. Like I always said, I remember saying on stream once, back when we were doing, I think it was back when this was GBU. I remember saying that Rashford is a player that as soon as he gets out of United, he's going to start banging in goals again. I think that's kind of coming true. Cross is always greener. This is always here. We get a balloon celly for Nkunku goal, and then the Bob Marley chant, which is always there. So yeah, that's the bingo. I'm assuming the lineups aren't out yet because I did try and stream a little tiny bit early. So we'll go through the predicted lineup here. I'm not going to be predicting anything too egregious or too out there. There's one decision I've made which I think might be a bit people might disagree with, but I've got my reasonings for it. First of all, I think Jurgensen has to start. I'm scared that he won't, but he has to. He really needs to get a run of games and kind of get some confidence back. I always feel like he's kind of been unfairly kind of thrown into games where he always concedes goals because of defensive mistakes and doesn't ever really have the chance to actually make saves, which is kind of unfortunate. So that could be what we see. I'm going to start on the left of the defence, obviously Cucurella. The centre-back partnership is a tough one for me because obviously we've seen numerous different centre-back lineups. I'm going to be putting in Colwill again. I think he has to start. I think he's the reason why Vega isn't here anymore. He has to play. But on the right-hand side of the defence, and this is why I kind of want to talk about this, these are the decisions I've made which might be a bit controversial. I want Tosin to play. I don't want Chalobah in the team anymore. I think he's really, really not been comfortable as he's come back. And I feel like Tosin was really on the up and kind of showing his leadership, showing his last-ditch blocks of shots on goal and things like that. He was really getting into his own. And then he suddenly got dropped again, and it was really bizarre, and I don't know why that happened. So hopefully he gets back in the team. But now, this is going to be controversial. I'm not putting in Reece James. I think Gusto will start today. And this is just because, as I said earlier, I think we might see a slightly change in system, and we might see Gusto and Cucurella overlapping. And personally, I don't think Enzo Maresca sees James as capable of being able to do that overlapping thing, and he wants to manage his fitness more. So I think what we'll probably see is Gusto play for 60, 70 minutes, then James will come on later, which sucks because James up in the top third of the pitch is absolutely wonderful, and we know that. But hopefully, if we do see the overlapping thing, Gusto can kind of get back to his best, because we've seen that this season he's just not been comfortable in this inverted role. He's just not creative enough on the ball. He's not comfortable enough when he's surrounded by players either. He's really, really good when he's hugging the touchline and getting up and getting on the overlap. So hopefully we see that. The midfield kind of picks itself. It's pretty obvious here. If my thing would stop lagging, come on, there we go. Caicedo starts in the 6 as always. Enzo starts in the 8 on the left side. Palmer starts on the in the 8/10 on the right side. I think that's pretty obvious. The front 3 again, I think picks itself. I'm not going to be doing anything outrageous here. I think that with Madueke coming out, it lends into Sancho's hand a little bit here because he will probably start on the left, replacing Madueke, which allows Neto, who was on the left, to switch over to the right hand side. I think that this is pretty comfortable. I don't think we're going to see George from the start, despite me really wanting it. If we do see George from the start, I think he'll obviously take the place of Sancho, and I think this is kind of what we want to see. But we could obviously see Sancho on the right hand side. He's the one winger that we do have that is comfortable on both sides. Obviously, we've seen George play on both sides as well, but I think that he's really the one that can actually kind of thrive on the right hand side. And then finally, up top is going to be Nkunku. Now, I don't think that he's going to play in a strict striker position. I think what we'll kind of see is kind of what we saw in the previous game, where, excuse me, where Nkunku and Palmer kind of act as dual false nines. And it might end up kind of looking a bit more like, hang on, if we move the players into the thing, I don't think we're going to see the kind of inverted midfield thing. So I think we're generally going to see a more traditional kind of just 4-2-4, with obviously one of these two dropping deep when we're in possession and trying to build up, but they will try and both get high. With that, obviously Neto and Sancho can drop a bit deeper and allow Gusto and Cucurella to get high when they need to. And I think this genuinely could just be a very normal formation, which we're kind of not used to seeing. We're used to seeing these weird kind of inversions and this kind of new gen football. I think we're going to see something a little bit more simple. And I don't know why I've just got such a good feeling about today. I feel like we're going to play really, really well. Has the lineup come out? I don't think it has. I just want to read some of the stuff that you've said in chat. Yeah, I think that the thing is with the whole everyone's obviously suggesting different players to play in the striker role, like Neto, for example. The issue is none of the players that we have provide a box presence, and that's the only reason why we're suffering at the moment, is because we don't have one. And I think that it would be very foolish for us to, if we are playing this overlapping style, to have someone like Neto as the striker, because he's just not tall enough to get on the end of things. He's not going to be making near or far post runs. That's not really what he does. And I wouldn't sacrifice Palmer's creativity in the centre for that. Speaking of Palmer's creativity, that's actually something I wanted to talk about. Because I've got some stats here from this kind of fixture, and I wanted to mention them because they could be, you know, we always bring up the stats and these types of things. They could be integral to how the game plans out. Firstly, I want to talk about the injuries that Villa have, because this is the main thing and the reason why I've got so much confidence. They have no Pau Torres, no Amadou Onana, no Camara, no Barkley, which no one cares about Barkley, to be honest. No Konsa and Bailey, who are both doubts for the game. So that backline is absolutely decimated. Even their defensive midfield is absolutely decimated. Obviously, Disasi, who has come in as a kind of late replacement to try and help with some of those injuries, cannot play against us as we are his parent club. So he's out too. They used up a lot of energy in midweek as well. They have obviously played Liverpool in midweek. We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to play a midweek game. We've got a whole week of rest. Everything is lining up for us to absolutely hammer these guys, if we can actually put some good attacking play together and actually just take our chances. Because we've never ever been a team that doesn't really fashion chances, except for when teams like Brighton, that we have played in the last game, kind of are able to sit back and able to settle and kind of have their strong back fours. This is going to be a very ragtag back four for Villa. And as I said, even though usually, historically, Chelsea don't do very well when players come in and kind of, oh, look, here's 17-year-old Lewis Miley or whatever, completely ruining our midfield, that type of thing. But I really feel like with all of the kind of disadvantages that they have, that this is a game we can really take for them. As I said, I wanted to talk about the Palmer thing. I want to talk some more stats from this game. Palmer has not registered a goal or assist in his last 5 matches. But the one thing that we have solace for that is that the last time he did get an assist was in the reverse fixture against Villa. So there we go. If omens are things, maybe he can get back into getting some goals and assists. I still think that he's been putting in good performances despite not getting goals or assists. I feel like he's a player that gets let down a lot, which is unfortunate. But there we go. Some more things here. Villa have just won only 2 top-flight home games versus us in their last 11 games. Obviously, this is at Villa Park. It's a away tie for us. They've got 2 draws in that time and 7 losses in that time in those 11 games. So, again, bodes quite well for us. Another thing which doesn't bode quite well for us, but kind of is just a funny thing which I saw as well, is apparently Villa have drawn the most home games in the league so far. So, yeah. Is the lineup out? I've just seen someone putting stuff in chat. Let me quickly switch over. Let me see. Is the lineup out? I've got to refresh my page. It is out indeed. Oh wow. Okay. Weird. Funky lineup. Funky lineup. I like it. I like seeing funky lineups. Let's get to this. I'm going to have to adjust this because I always have to adjust it because my thing always wants to move whenever I put images in, which is really annoying, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Here, whoosh. Oh, it's not actually that bad. There we go. So, starting 11 for Chelsea. Jurgensen starts. Gusto starts. James captain at centre-back. Very interesting. Chalobah, Colwill, Cucurella, Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer, Neto, and Nkunku. This is very, very wild. One thing. Whoa. Oh, there are some really wild things. Wait. This is hype. Wait, this is so hype. Hang on. Wait. Not only do we have... Hang on. First of all, let me move this out of the way. First of all, we need to address the elephant in the room. We're in a back three or a back five. So Reece James is right centre back. Gusto high. This Tosin doesn't play for some reason. I feel like Tosin in the centre back role would be so good for this. I don't know why he's not playing. That's really annoying. But we get Chalobah instead. Where is he? I put him here. Chalobah in. So Chalobah central centre back. Bit interesting. Hang on, I'm gonna put this more into a 3-4-3 because it's easier to kind of deal with. Let me move this out of the way a little bit more. So we get this, and then up top we've got Nkunku as I would assume as the 10, and then Palmer and Neto as two kind of 10s behind him, and then Sancho not in the lineup. So this is kind of what we'll see. So obviously Neto will be on the side. I like this a lot. I like this a lot for one reason, because I told you about I said it. We might be able to see a different system. We might be able to see overlapping fullbacks. Gusto as a wing back with James as this third centre back is something that I think really helps balance out the team. I think that this kind of up and down position for Caicedo, playing as not just a lone six, but actually kind of being able to get the license to get up and down, really suits him. Same thing with Enzo. Cucurella overlapping, I don't think is something that he's particularly great at, but the thing which Neto kind of provides here is that differently to how Palmer and Gusto would operate, where obviously Palmer's going to be a player that comes inside a lot, allows Gusto to get high, kind of be the wide player. I feel like we might see the opposite on this side with Neto, where Cucurella will come into this more 10 position and Neto will be the one that goes around the outside, and then we've got that left-footed ball to come from the left, we've got the right-footed ball to come from the right, and then obviously you've got Nkunku and Palmer trying to get into the box. Oh, that's huge. And again, we get to finally see... I've been waiting for this for so long, man, because we finally get to see, as someone's just said in chat, Palmer and Gusto link up on this right-hand side again. It's something I've been waiting for so long, because these two made such a good partnership last year, and they were literally... These two were the shining lights in the team, in my opinion. It was Gusto, Palmer... Obviously, Caicedo towards the end of the season, but Gusto, Palmer, and Jackson were the three players I was like, these are the guys that are going to carry us forward. And Gusto, we haven't really seen much of him this season because of his kind of newfound position. Same thing with Palmer, kind of being moved into a different position. He's not hit the ground running as much as we wanted. He's still been absolutely phenomenal, but still. So yeah, we get to see this, which is nice. The other things which are really interesting here, though, is not only do we have this, but on the bench is really interesting. So we've got Sanchez, obviously, Josh Achempong on the bench, which is obviously we're going to need centre-backs for this if we need to make rotations there. He can obviously replace James at some point and play in that kind of right centre-back, right-back role, huge. Tosin again, another one that can come in for Chalobah on this side. Dewsbury Hall and Amugu. I mentioned Amugu possibly coming on. Might have to see one or both of those two coming on, considering the amount of work that Enzo and Caicedo are going to have to get through. However, I am so happy to announce Isha Samuel-Smith is on the bench. Huge. That's massive. He's a player that really, really could step up and actually be in this team. I'm really sad that he hasn't been in the team as much, because especially considering Vega went away, because he is our only other than Cucurella, our only other left back in the team. Even more interesting, the player who I said probably wouldn't play because he's been playing for the under-21s is on the bench at Shimweka, and we might actually see him come off because he's on the bench. I don't know why he would be on the bench if he wasn't being considered for a place in the team. Because there's no reason for him to be on the bench if we weren't gonna put him on. Because there's other players that can obviously go on here. Someone's mentioned Anselmino. He could obviously come on here. There's obviously we've obviously got some players that are coming back soon as well. So it's interesting to see him on the bench. He might get a chance. I think George is 100% an absolute shoo-in to come off the bench at some point, especially for Neto. I think he come off for Neto. I'm excited, man. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. And again, even if he doesn't get off the bench, I still think it's an incredible opportunity for him to just be in the matchday squad. It's not going to be a 4-4-2 with Gusto on the right wing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And again, it's one of these things. I talk about this all the time. When you read lineups, they always go right to left. So Gusto is the rightmost defender. He's always going to be the rightmost defender here. And that screams to me back 5 or back 3. And again, it might change in game. We know Enzo likes to do his weird inversions and things like that at times, and this might not come out as a strict 3-4-3 at times, and it might be a bit more kind of adventurous with Gusto just getting really high and Cucurella playing as a left back. But I don't see why the lineup would be like this if he wasn't playing in some kind of wing back role. I don't see why he would be playing there, but that could be it. It's not crazy, but I just don't think it would happen. Like, when we've got Neto and Palmer, who are both 2 right wingers, why would you play Gusto on the right wing? That just seems really silly. Yeah, we could see Colwell centre back as well. That is definitely an option. The only reason I don't put him there, again, is because of the way that the lineup is written. He's on the leftmost side of the 3 centre backs, so he's going to be on this side. Plus, I don't see why he would play central with Chalobah here when he's the only left-footed player in the team. Well, I guess we'll see. We've kind of been seeing him playing either way. I would prefer him to play as the central centre-back if we had a left-sided player like Isha Samuel-Smith, who's on the bench, to play here. I would have preferred him to be in the centre because he's just better in the centre. He's not very good out wide. We've kind of seen that. But yeah, phenomenal. No Sancho, but yeah, he is on the bench. I think that's, again, a big statement of intent there from Enzo to kind of say, hey, Sancho's not really been doing good enough in terms of actually kind of getting the goals and assists recently. No, neither has any of our players, but I feel like my kind of reasoning behind why Neto would be starting over Sancho is, again, because of that thing which I spoke about, where Neto will be a player that likes to get high and wide, whereas Cucurella doesn't really want to do that, and he wants to kind of come inside a bit more. Whereas if you had Sancho here, he's a player that kind of likes to cut in more and allow Cucurella to go around the outside, and I'm not sure he would really be comfortable doing that as much. Yeah, I think as I said, Trev can definitely play here. I'm not saying he's not, but I just feel like with the way the lineup's written, that Colwell will probably be on the left hand side. Either way, I don't really have many qualms with that. To be fair, I just wish that Chalobah wasn't in the lineup at all. And I wish Tosin was in the lineup instead. But there we go. But yeah, that seems to be the lineup. That seems to be what we're going to be seeing, hopefully. So I've just seen that message about your post in the Discord. Yeah. Well, that was on the bingo card as well, so that's going to get ticked off. But yeah, hopefully we can get a good result here. As I said, I'll actually check again, but last time I checked, the teams around us were all dropping points, so hopefully we can. Yep, according to the app, it's weird. It doesn't refresh all the time, but Arsenal are still behind, Bournemouth are still behind, which is great to see. Obviously, I was going to say, obviously United dropped points, but they're so far below us, I'm so used to saying, oh, United dropped points, that's good for us, but they're literally down in 15th place, so that doesn't really affect us in any way. But yeah, hopefully we can... Chalobah icon is still 14. Yes, it is, because this is his old picture and it hasn't updated from the new ones. Also, because I've changed all of the new ones. In fact, I can actually show you that, because for example, someone like Anselmino, who does now have a number, and in my video before with the loanees, he has his number in the background. It just doesn't update when I do this. I'll have to do that at some point. Also, thanks for the I wanted to say thanks for the really good reaction to that video. I genuinely was like it was quite a slow burner, and it kind of suddenly shot up, and it's been getting a lot of people saying that they enjoyed it in the comments, which is nice to see. That's the main thing for me. So I'm not really looking at numbers or anything nowadays. I just don't want to get involved with that anymore. So it's nice to see people actually kind of just loads of people in the comments being like, "Oh, this was a good video. I enjoyed this. Keep doing more," that type of thing. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. As I said, I'm going to quickly hop off, and hopefully we can get a win here, please. And I'll also be streaming after the game with Feeling Blue, and hopefully we can be celebrating a victory at Villa Park rather than be sitting here sad and just it's gonna, if we lose this game, it's gonna be horrific. I can just tell. I'm not even gonna go on social media after if we lose this game. Genuinely, it's gonna be so bad. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. Keep that blue flag flying high as ever, and I said I will see you guys after the game. Peace.